Discernment will always choose the peaceful path. Discernment will pull from within you your original eternal nature: love, peace, purity, truth, joy. The discernment within you will say, that's who you need to be, not your vices: anger, lust, greed, attachment, ego, algae. When I keep using algae, I'm not discerning. When I use my true sense of worth, I am discerning. It's a gradual journey, everyone.
Welcome to the Radical Responsibility Podcast. I'm Dr. Fleet Mall, and I'm excited to guide you on a journey of authentic transformation. In each episode, I'll bring you insights from leading experts to explore trauma recovery, mindfulness practices, positive psychology, and innovative breakthroughs in health, wellness, and life optimization. This is a space for real conversations that inspire meaningful change, helping you find alignment with the person you are always meant to be. Let's get started. What if transformation isn't just about thinking differently, but feeling differently? Science shows us that true change happens when we align not just our minds, but also the neural networks in our hearts and guts. This heart-mind connection is the key to deeper healing, resilience, and expanded awareness. That's why I created the Heart-Mind All-Access Membership and Community, a space designed to help you rewire your nervous system, cultivate heart intelligence, and live with greater clarity and purpose. With over 1,000 hours of transformational teachings specifically curated to meet your needs, you'll learn from world-renowned meditation teachers, neuroscientists, and experts in neuroplasticity, all sharing powerful tools to help you shift your mindset and heart set, regulate your emotions, and unlock your full potential. You'll also gain unlimited access to every summit and course we've ever produced, a treasure trove of wisdom worth over $10,000 and growing, plus live gatherings and an inspiring global community to support your journey. If you're ready to step into a more heart-centered, connected, and conscious life, I invite you to join us. Click the link to learn more and start your journey today. Have you ever felt like you were searching for something invisible, yet deeply essential? Like you misplaced the key to peace, to that quiet knowing inside. In today's episode, I sit down with my dear friend, Sister Dr. Jenna, a deeply respected teacher, leader, and voice for conscious evolution. She's the founder of the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Museum in Washington, D.C., host of the America Meditating radio show, and someone who has devoted her life to helping people reconnect with their highest truth. Together, we explore the profound importance of developing a personal relationship with Source, God, the divine, however you name it. We talk about how love is more than an emotion, how introspecting can lead us beyond ego, and how community and inner stillness can become the very ground we stand on when the world feels like it's shaking. This conversation is a gentle, powerful reminder that the connection we're seeking is already within us. Let's get started. My name is Dr. Fleet Mall, your co-host for this session, and I'm really honored to be here today with Sister Dr. Jenna. Welcome, Sister Jenna.
Pleasure to be here with you, Fleet, and everyone out there.
Yes, you've had a very unique background and upbringing and so forth, blending both Indian and African Jamaican roots, which has given you a broad perspective on spirituality. I wonder if you could share the pivotal moment that led you to the Brahma Kumaris and how its teachings transform your understanding of meditation. My understanding is that, correct me if I'm wrong, that you were born in the U.S., but at one point you went to India to study and practice there.
Yeah, I was actually born in a little island in the Caribbean called Jamaica. And then I left there when I was 4 years old, and my family relocated to Miami, Florida, where I was raised. My first time I went to India, I was around 24 years old. My dad's Indian and my mother's African Caribbean or African Jamaican. And your query or your question is big. I'm Pisces, so I always have spiritual experience. It's just like something very mystical, yet there are a few pieces. I lost my mother last year, so a lot of her memory remains very fresh in my heart and in my mind. And I think one of the most pivotal moments of my spiritual awakening was when I saw her transformation after she came to the Brahma Kumaris. You know, sometimes you think about your upbringing or your early years. Many of us perhaps have had a very normal upbringing. You have a mother and a father, they're stable. Maybe you were raised in a family of aunts and uncles. And for her, she was orphaned at 7 and in orphanages and getting adopted and then having her first child, her only child at 17. I think life was really tough for her, Fleet, and everyone. I think she did the best that she could to navigate whatever life meant for her. So, watching her was a unique journey for me. But I remembered when she got involved with the Brahma Kumaris within 6 months, there was a wave of something else that passed through her. There was this awakening or this light of the divine that she tapped into. That was a huge sign for me, Fleet. And I think after that, I started to become a little bit more in tuned to what that awakening is or what that spiritual path is. And for me, I had an out of body experience at 7 or 8. And I had another experience, about 19, or many different types of experiences that were not human for sure, but they were connected to a very divine aspect of my interior world, which many of us don't really live. So I would say that it was through first seeing the transformation of light around my mother. And then the second aspect was an out of body experience. And then my first trip to India, when I'm sitting in a room of 2,500 students at that time, the wave of this divine energy, this divine light, this supreme energy kind of blankets the room. Like it just goes, everything in me that was uncomfortable, belief systems that I had for myself that were so limited, things that I did against my principle or my truth. Something about that moment when I felt God's light, it left me. It left. And from that moment, I was never the same person. It didn't matter if I was Jamaican woman, black, white, American, Indian. None of that mattered. It was an interior work that had opened up for me, Fleet, and it hasn't stopped. It's been a consistent story.
We're generally talking about as a day focused on Vedic meditation traditions. Now, I know that can specifically refer to certain types of meditation, but we're really referencing the whole culture of India. And since we have many days on Buddhist meditation, we're not referencing the Buddhist culture of India, but more the Hindu Vedic culture of India in general. So I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about the Brahma Kumaris tradition and situate that within overall Indian Vedic culture and tell us a little bit more about that tradition.
Well, it's just so profound. Vedic culture is huge. It really has such a deep connection to the nature, the movement of nature. And with the Brahma Kumaris, it's no less. It's just that it has a lot of very simplistic guided formats that can help a practitioner to have a deeper realization of themselves. For example, in many meditations or different traditions, it's always the focus on the self, the soul, the spirit within. And when you do embark upon any form of meditation, what is its agenda? What is its main focus is to somehow bring an element of peace, awareness, a light, a sense of freedom, the ability to let go of your shame and guilt so that you can live your truth and speak your truth. So one of the first lessons in our meditation practice is to be aware of the soul, the spirit. The energy that's looking at me right now might be seeing me with your two eyes, but it's your soul behind your eye that's actually listening to me. And your soul, that spirit behind your eye, is trying to find meaning of this moment that we're spending together. It's trying to connect to its own story, to its own truths. Vedic meditation and practices are also trying to help everyone towards that. We've gotten so far away from who we really are as a spiritual being, that we've invested so much of our thought vibration in only what we can see with our two eyes and what we hear with our two ears and what we say with our lips. Our whole world has become so human, we have completely disregarded the spirit within, the soul within. And so the whole practice of any tradition is actually to help us to come back home to ourselves because we're so distracted from that. We're so removed from the original nature of our existence that we don't even know it. We look at another human being and we find everything that's wrong with them. And we completely miss the fact that it could be my own imperfections I'm seeing in the other person. But Vedic or spiritual traditions remind you that when you look at another person, see the gift in them, the divinity in them, the God in them, and you'll also see a reflection of yourself. In the United States of America, it's going through a lot right now with such humongous changes, policy wise, government wise, character wise, emotional wise. And a lot of people might be on one side of the spectrum versus the other, and they will argue about one side of the spectrum and completely become ignorant that if they're seeing so many imperfections in the leadership, there might be room for them to look at their own imperfections too. So we're like just perpetuating the same negative energy that we're talking very much about. Vedic traditions and the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, we want to pay attention to not going down that road. We want to pay attention to what is the real truth of the matter here, what is needed for our survival or even for our solutions. And so introspection, focus on the soul, focus on the spirit behind your eye, becoming aware that your spiritual energy is everything to take care of now more than ever, that you've got to take care of the soul. And you do it by the way you think, that your thoughts will serve your soul and make it strong, will hurt your spirit and make it extremely vulnerable, delicate, soft, weak, in a sense that you can be influenced by anything that comes in front of you, especially illusions. So when you've lost sight of yourself, it's easy for you to be deceived. And the importance of a meditation practice, the importance of spiritual traditions, is to make you very discerning, to decide what is truth from illusion, what is a pearl from a stone. Then you can select what thoughts and feelings and emotions you wish to serve inside of yourself. So, this program that you're doing is really important, Fleet. I'm a little bit concerned about the condition of our world. And people need to be able to anchor themselves deep in themselves now so that if everything outside of you collapses, you have here your spirit and your connection to source to keep you sane. And I hope that our program today will do just that for your viewers.
Mm-hmm. Many of us are very externally oriented and externally oriented in a kind of a fear and survival way, constantly looking, how am I going to get my needs met, or how am I going to do this or that? So as we begin to come home and something draws us within ourselves on this spiritual journey, how do we discern? You're talking about this spirit or soul or consciousness that is experiencing the world behind from through our five senses, through the eyes. And at the same time, our assumption that there is someone having this experience is also connected with the limited self, the ego. And so I'm wondering on this journey how we begin to discern that limited egoic self, which is the thought we have, there must be somebody here having this experience, and then we have all our stories about that somebody, and how we begin through meditation to clarify and discern that structure from the deeper sense of soul or spirit of consciousness. Now, I would imagine one is on some level even subtly pervaded by fear and the other is not. But I'm curious about, in your tradition of meditation, how that process of discernment works. And I also know that your work is very much about inclusion across cultures and ethnicities and race. And it's that separate egoic self that separates us from each other, right? So I'm curious again about that path of how we discern getting in touch with this spirit or soul as you're describing it, rather than just maybe even a more refined sense of my ego.
We're all gifted with the power of discernment, even before an awakened life. People have a sixth sense about the way people should be and You meet somebody and you get an idea that, oh, this person is not good or this person is very good. You'll get like a sixth sense. Everybody has that ability, but it just happens once in a while. Sometimes you find yourself choosing particular relationships or situations that they've not been healthy for you, and you keep going in it again and again. And people wonder what's wrong with me. I keep putting myself in the same situation with the same kind of people, different name, different place, different time. They're not able to discern what is that limit or that lack within them as an energy that keeps attracting a particular vibration that they don't want. When you become spiritual, and let me try to explain what that means. On my own journey, it's taken me time, fleet, and everyone to develop my own discernment. The ego's always traveling with you. It's always traveling with you. Not just ego, though, attachment as well. My definition of ego is when I'm attached to a limited label or identity, and I begin to believe that's all I am. There's no way your spirit, as powerful as it is, should just continue to hold on to a limited view of itself. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm black, I'm white, I'm American, I'm Indian. There's no way that's all I am. And I think one of the reasons we're so conflicted with ourselves is the spirit is thirsting for freedom. The spirit, the soul is thirsting to be free of the attachment to these limited labels of itself. You can feel it. Discernment develops, I believe, when you respond to the discomforts that you feel in your interactions with people or situations, that you don't ignore your discomfort, but you pay attention to answering, why is it that I feel uncomfortable with this person? Why is it that I'm going to travel with somebody who takes a lot of energy from me? How do I handle that? Why do I deal with certain challenges and situations that I have no control over? You've got to answer your whys. And in doing so, you will gradually cultivate discernment because you're being truthful to yourself. Simple example, let's say I feel I don't have the patience to deal with a particular person for 24/7. At least my spirit knows that. But I have to deal with this person 24/7 for 30 days. So now I'm going to have to find a way to navigate that and be the best that I can be. And my discernment has given me that wisdom to know I've got 30 days to deal with this person. I will work it out. I will make it beneficial for both of us. We will cultivate something, something will work out wonderfully for all of us. That's my discernment speaking. I'm able to cipher through. I can't control what's changed. I can't control dealing with that, but I can definitely deal with how I'm going to navigate this. Discernment, fleet, will always choose wisdom over ignorance. Discernment will always choose the peaceful path. Discernment will pull from within you your original eternal nature: love, peace, purity, truth, joy. The discernment within you will say, that's who you need to be, not your vices: anger, lust, greed, attachment, ego, algae. When I keep using algae, I'm not discerning. When I use my true sense of worth, I am discerning. It's a gradual journey, everyone, but you must keep responding to moments when you feel uncomfortable. If you've been living your truth, love, peace, purity, truth, joy from your soul, and any little touch of algae comes into you, I have to spend 30 days with this person alone. I have to work with this job that I don't like. The country's going down the tubes. Oh, I'm gaining way too much weight. I can't fit in my clothes anymore. Whatever is your discomfort, it's algae. Algae comes as a discomforting signal. And if you use your truth and you ask, what's going on with you? Why are you feeling uncomfortable to deal with this person? Because I have to now stretch myself. I'm going to have to be more loving and more accommodating. I'm going to have to show my strength here. So that's a benefit, right? So your discernment has made it clear for you. This is what this opportunity is going to offer you. Isn't that great? To expand your love, to expand your patience, to expand your ability to accommodate somebody. This is a good thing, right? So now do you understand what I mean? This is what a discernment will do. It will keep stretching you to be more and to be your best and will not make you come from your algae.
When we begin a meditation path, find that our minds are fairly chaotic. And so there's some kind of stabilization of attention, some kind of stabilization, some kind of training the mind such that we can settle and practice. Then as the mind settles, difficult things can be coming up. And you were referencing having to be with that difficult person perhaps for 30 days. Sometimes that difficult person might be ourselves, and it's more than 30 days. But it sounds like you've been referencing that there's definitely a healing process within the Brahma Kumari tradition. And then, as one stabilizes the mind through various practices and begins to, some healing is occurring so one can settle further, then it seems the possibilities arise for the deep insights into our nature, into the nature of reality, for the awakenings, the liberation to happen. But I wonder if you could kind of describe that path from someone who just starts practicing, who has fairly unstabilized attention, fairly chaotic mind, lots of thoughts, very hard to focus, to some process of settling, and then the various emotional things and maybe traumas and so forth that need to be released and healed in some way. And then from there, maybe going into deeper practice that can lead to various insights and awakenings. So I wonder if you could describe how that path unfolds in the Brahma Kumari tradition.
I'm going to be very truthful with you. I feel that we're not quite sure where or how the spiritual developments occurring in the lives of soul, learning about meditation online or in a book, or possibly just on your own, on an app, so to speak. And I'll tell you why. For maybe folks like us, we've had close connections with individuals who are on a journey. I've seen the proof of so many souls around me that have a lot of spiritual integrity. That means I could see earnestly they're really working on transforming themselves and being a better person. I've seen the proof. I see the proof. I'm living with it. I've seen individuals who are fighting against their greatest evil, algae, anger, lust, greed, attachment, ego. I've seen people who are fighting against this algae to emerge their truth continuously on the field of serving humanity to make humanity a better place, even though internally they're working on themselves. And even when they mess up, they're humble enough to say sorry. I've seen people who have given up the beauty and the powers and the wealth of the world and have put on a little white sari or wear a white outfit and live in a little small space, but their power and their energy is radiating immensely. It's comforting the minds and the hearts of souls. I've seen it. I've seen it physically with my two eyes. I've lived with it, Fleet. I know it. It's not one person. It's not a guru. It's not one person in a massive movement. It's not two people. It's not five people. It's not 10. I have lived with many souls that are carrying this light because of their connection to source, because of their connection to source, because they could feel the discomfort in their spirit. It can't keep continuing like that. So, how are souls going to develop their own spiritual transformation on an app, online, with a book? I'm going to believe that something is happening for them once they get into that zone of spiritual search. Maybe there's somebody who's going to watch our show, Fleet. Maybe that one person, and they just wake up to a deeper commitment to the well being of their interior world. Maybe karmically, energetically, their souls will be led to a community that they feel comfortable with. And I deeply feel community is so important for your spiritual tradition or your spiritual growth and transformation, but it's not everything. But it's really important to help to sustain you. So at the beginning, you might hear how to meditate on a podcast, on television, on your app, in a book. Then what next? Do you go back to your normal life? doing everything that you've always done. How do you sustain it? I think it's important to find a community, something that connects to your language, your culture, your roots, or maybe just your soul, your spirit. For me, it's in the Brahma Kumaris, and I don't know how I would have maintained my spiritual integrity if I didn't have community. You wake up early in the morning to keep the sacred connection between you, the soul, and God. Every day there's a morning class and it's a fixed time. You wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to connect to God and to listen to your deepest resource. Then you're very constant and committed to your morning class, which starts first thing in the morning, not the news, not social media, but spiritual teachings from the divine that's feeding your spirit. Then after that, you get your day going. You prepare your day mindfully. Think about yourself. You think about those deep inner quiet signals that you're getting by these connections or these words or these thoughts. And then you reach out. You begin to ask the universe, send me the right community to keep me growing and thriving. Because I think community is really important, Fleet, in order to help a beginner on the path of meditation to truthfully grow. I don't think you can truthfully grow just online. I don't know though. I've not done it, so I can't say. There might be individuals who can just spiritually grow only listening to spiritual teachings online. There might be. I just don't know about it myself. So for me, for beginners, make sure you get your awakening, whether it's through a book, an app, online, but find some real people that complement you and find a community that can help you to stay on the path of your awakening.
I love the way you're speaking broadly of this path of meditation and spiritual journey in the context of our overall sort of mindset, heart set, the need for community, that it's really about our life. It's not about a particular technique or practice.
Yeah.
And your book, Meditation, Intimate Connection, Intimate Experiences with the Divine, sort of explores practice as a gateway to deeper connection. And from what I hear you saying, it sounds like, I mean, at least in my understanding or my experience, we're all connected to source, whether we know it or not. We essentially are source. We're inseparable from the source of all. But for many of us at some points in our life, we're not aware of that connection and we can really be struggling. So it sounds like there, in some way or another, if we begin to hear the call of that or get in touch with that or something wakes us up a little bit to that, then there's this quality of a North Star that's leading us in a direction of, what feels like wisdom and what feels like qualities that are making our lives work and others work, connection. And we begin to have that natural discernment between that and that which is pulling us in a more negative direction. And so I'm curious about how people, I mean, you've somewhat described it already, but people across traditions use many different terms for this: the divine, the sacred, God, soul, spirit, consciousness. Sometimes in Buddhist traditions, they're a little less likely to put names on it and, the unknowing, the unknown. So I'm curious as how people begin to develop a relationship with this very sort of ineffable quality of our experience and let that then guide them into the right community, guide them into the right path, and so forth.
Yeah. It's so interesting that I feel we have misplaced the energy of God in our lives. It's sort of like when you've misplaced your keys and you really got to get going for your appointment or your meeting and you can't find it. And it's such a frustrating feeling. And if you can just think about your life like that, you've got things to do. You want to live your best life, but you've misplaced the key to it, which is this very intimate and private connection to Source, to God. It has changed for me when I was a teenager and my parents started with the Brahma Kumaris tradition. They had the picture of Brahma Baba, the founder of the ideology, but then they had a picture of light, an image of light, God's light in my home. My mother used to say, Jen, this is God, this is light. And automatically my innocence would say, oh, yes, I totally get it. Yes, why not? And so I carried that with me, Fleet. Like, If I were to ever believe God, you can see that image now, that if I were to ever think of God, I wouldn't get trapped in that he's Christian, that he's Jewish, that he's Hindu, or she or he, or Muslim, that he was the source of energy. There's a place that we all go to, Fleet, when we're in this stress. Like we go deep inside to find an answer. And in the journey for me, first he started off as a point of light. Then he began to be a mother, a father, a teacher, a guru, a guide. And then I would feel that whenever I needed sustenance in these relationships, I would direct my attention to that source, that energy. It's kind of like when you go to look at the baby inside your mind, you more remember the fragrance, the essence, and the purity of the child. And when I go inside and I make my connection to thought, that God is the supreme being, the supreme light, the supreme soul, the ocean of love and peace. When I land there in my thoughts, I can feel it coming back to me. So as I've been evolving, it's no more just a point of light. It's not just my mother or father or teacher. For me now, God is just love. It's an energy of great love that I'm able to tap into on a spirit level now. And when I tap into that energy of love, I say I could feel the God in me. And then I bring that experience that I'm getting into my relationships, into my decisions, into my life. And it's like I'm bringing God here on the planet Earth. And you can't hide the expression of God because you can see it on people's faces. You can feel it in their vibrations. You can feel it in their aura. There's just a feeling about people when you meet them. If they're kind, humble, and loving and sweet, it's the God in them that you're seeing. But if they seem mean, vicious, bully, arrogant, that person has not been remembering who they belong to or really who they are. And so I feel that as we're moving towards very sensitive times in the world, we heard today on one of the radio stations that America and Russia are now given permission to test their nuclear powers. We are seeing the struggles of countries, Mozambique, an uprising, the Congos, Ukraine and Russia are still unsettled. Gaza and Israel are still delicate. So many countries going through so much because leaders cannot get along. Leaders will not bring God into the war room before they decide to hurt their citizens of their country. The irony is everybody wants the same. And so I think that we need to have this alive experience now of a deep, intimate relationship with God. That's the benefit of meditation. I'm not talking about a religious God. You can't, in your right mind, squeeze God into your religion and think that's it. It's just not possible. It's an energy that belongs to 8 billion souls. As long as we don't misplace it, we won't have all this algae thinking. If I haven't misplaced the identity and the connection to the source, I will bring this source with me wherever I go. And like I mentioned to that person, for example, if I have to live with somebody for 30 days, they're actually a very good person, one of the most kindest, sweetest people I know. And now I have to raise my energy, not them. They're great. They're wonderful people. They're just different in thinking and behavior and alignment, but they're beautiful people. And now, in order for me to get power to love more, because they don't speak my language, they don't eat my food, they don't act like me, I need to pull love from God to be able to accommodate that because I'm not used to that energy all the time. So the issue here is for everyone out there, I'm begging you, you have to make a connection to source, and it's definitely not religious. It's going to just save your life. If tomorrow morning we wake up and we hear the world is at war with each other, we're just guinea pigs to the game of the ego of these leaders, where do you turn? Who do you turn to? You better have a connection to love, that divinity of love. Because if the world reaches a point where the algae completely fights with another algae and it just destroys everything. Where do you go? Where do you go? You have to have a place inside where there's safety of the spirit. And in order to save your soul from suffering, you connect to love. And that's what I love the most. And I'm even more committed to this connection now because I'm looking at the condition of the world and it's just so sad to see how grown people can think the way that they think about each other. It's an absence of God's love. So I share this with you, Fleet, with really deep emotions because I really am very disappointed in the way we are evolving. And at the same token, I'm really not disappointed because it's written in the script to be this way. However, I think it's time for us to return to source, to divinity, to light. It's very private. It's very private. It's very quiet. It is something that you're doing internally inside that only you and the divine know what you're up to. People will never understand your heart. No matter how much you try to put it in words, nobody has the sensitivity to understand your deepest feelings. But when you've deeply connected to the source of truth, which carries the power of love and peace and purity and truth and joy, then you become that. You become an embodied experience of those feelings. When you meet people and you interact with people, you'll start to give hope to people that somehow it's not as bad as it looks. There's hope after all. And I think for me, Fleet, I just want everyone to have a private link to source now so that they feel a sense of soul protection. Whatever happens to my body, I can't help that. But at a soul level, I should feel at peace or protected. You know, when someone leaves the body, for example, when they die, people will say, oh, may they rest in peace. Or they'll say, oh, they're in a better place. The soul is gone, the body's there, burnt or 6 feet under. But people will say the soul is at peace now. Live your peace while you're alive. Develop that experience between you and the divine while you're alive so that wherever you go next, you're fine. That's my message to everyone because I think it's so important now. Fleet, if any world leader, because of their ego, they say something, and you and I wake up tomorrow and all we're hearing are sirens because World War III has started, where do you go spiritually? You're going to what? Run to your church? Run to your synagogue? Are you going to run to grab your grandchild or your daughter, or your wife, or your spouse? Where are you going to go? We're all in peril. You're going to go inside and you're going to make your connection to source, to God, Allah, Jehovah, Bhagwan, Krishna, God, Lord, Master, Baba. And you're going to feel that God has got you and that He's got you. He's with you here. Whatever's happening here, you're okay here. And we need to practice this intimate relationship now so that we can feel safe wherever we go.
Thank you so much, Sister Jenna, for this such an illuminating way of continually pointing us to source and such an important message. Thank you for this profound conversation and for being so generous to spend time with us today. And thank you for both your teaching and the humanitarian work that you've been doing for so long and continue to do around the world. So just thank you so much. And namaste and wishing you all the best. We will let everyone in our audience know right down below. You can see Sister Jenna's bio and links to her websites where you can find out more about her work and teachings and the Brahma Kumaris. And
Thank you, Fleet. Thanks to everyone who took the time to also tune in. You know, when organizers such as the Institute are putting together these important ideas and conversations, it's not because they don't have anything to do. It is a passion, it is a call, it is a desire to see the world in a better place. And I think one of my deepest wishes for our humanity is people on the path of consciousness or spirituality or meditation to come together and create a very strong collaboration of spiritual people to really become very organized so that we can be available to help humanity if it needs it, which I'm sure it will. And so, for everyone out there who tuned in, come together, gather together, collaborate. Don't be too isolated anymore. There are people who are extremely powerful that are very organized, and it's not necessarily to create world peace. But if you are a person working on your own personal transformation for a better world, don't do it alone. Come together with various organizations and groups that can build that fortress of power and help our humanity. Be there as a source to help your brothers and sisters if they're in spiritual or emotional or physical dire need. But we have to do it together. So, Fleet, thank you for thinking of me and for thinking of bringing us together like this at these times, because we all need to become a very strong, united spiritual connection of people so that we are there as a strong rock for humanity to survive whatever is coming in the future. So, lots and lots of blessings to each and every one of you out there. Keep your connection to Source. Sometimes the days will get really tough. Just smile. Just smile. It'll change everything. It's a simple thing. Just smile. It'll pass. All right. Thank you, Fleet. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sister Jenna. Be well.
Om Shanti. Bye bye.